Alright, so after you must have done with modeling just like this, to now transfer to Prota steel, you have to run analysis first. The structures have been analyzed successfully. For instance, I select any of this member, maybe this one, right click, and then I will select this member, steel member design. You will notice that all the members are passed design successfully, just like this. Okay, so after which you just have to navigate to drawing and report tab, and then you have to left click once on the Prota steel once. So all the drawing will be exported to Prota steel, just like this. Okay. Alright, so let's dive into the main lesson. Hi friends, you are welcome to this presentation. We are going to be considering the modeling of this tree structure in Protastructure 2022 successfully. So I will want you to give the lesson a thumbs up and subscribe if you are yet to subscribe. Stay tuned and stay attentive as a technical explanation will be actually carried out during the course of this lesson. And so let us get started. Mind you, this is Protastructure 2022 version. And so we want to create a new file. So we straight away we have to navigate to the new file provision, or you click on this file menu, click on new file. So once you get to these provisions, I will just give it an underscore and key into right there. I will scroll down for my template, United Kingdom Euro Codes template. I will get that selected, click on the OK options. Alright, so the United Kingdom Euro Code template is created successfully, just like this. So we'll be setting out our grid lines. I will navigate to the modeling tab, and then I'll use orthogonal axis generator, click it once, and then I'll pick a point on the drawing environment to start my grid creations. Okay, so here in the dialog, the direction 1 axis is actually the horizontal grid lines, while the direction 2 axis is actually the vertical grid lines. All right, so for the horizontal grid lines, we are going to be having 2500, and then asterisks into 2 places, and then you have a comma right there. Okay, so what we'll be having again is 4800, just like this. All right, then you asterisk it into 3 places. All right, so after you must have gotten this in the horizontal provisions, we will go straight away to the vertical directions of the axis. We also have 2500 right there, and then we have a comma right there, and then the main auditorium is going to be 10,000 millimeters. All right, and then you have a comma, you have also 3000 as part of the auditorium, and then we asterisk that with 2 places. All right, so the total weight is going to be about 16 meter. All right, so after which we click on the OK options. So we have our grid line set out just like this. After, we are going to be considering the elevations. Okay, so for you to set your elevation, you can come through the stories, structural tree right there. You right click right there, and then you can click on edit stories. Okay, but before we edit story, we have to insert story. So altogether we'll be having 4 stories. Click on the insert story options, and so we are going to be having 4 stories altogether, just like this. Okay, click on the OK option, but by then insert stories height at default is 3 meter. You can see it there. OK options now, and then click on the yes options to continue. After you must have inserted your story successfully, you can also navigate to the edit story. You can also go through the building set out, and then come to the story operations, and then you come to edit story. Mind you, if you want to actually enroll on a training on this program, you can check the link in the description of this video. All right, and then you can be able to reach to me. We will schedule how we can carry out that successfully. So let's make progress. For the structural system, we will have to change it to steel. All right, because steel will actually dominate the whole of the structure. So you change the structural system to steel successfully, just like this. After which we want to set the stories. We want the stories to be in 3 meters, but for the story 1, we will be changing it to 600. So this story 1 is just like from the normal ground level, okay, to the DPC level. all right, it's going to be 600. All right, for the foundation depth 1.1, we are okay with that. For now, click on the OK options. All right, so once you click on the OK options, you will notice that you actually at the story 4 level now. Okay, but before we proceed, we will look at the materials. Okay, so we check the materials of this structure. All right, so this is the materials dialog. All right, for this steel strength, you can see it is strength 275. All right, which is one of the smallest strength. Okay, it's been selected after the design. The program will actually select the right strength for this steel. So if you want to select other strength, so you can see all the strength that is available in this program successfully. Click on the OK options. For the reinforced concrete members, you can actually see that for the columns, because what we'll be having in this structure is only reinforced concrete columns, the foundations, and as well as the mass concrete slab. Okay, so click on this concrete strength. We like to use 20/25. I click on apply to all and then click on the OK options. So all of that is being changed. Okay, so for the steel grade, we will be considering steel grade 460, this one. Okay, for that particular bars, if you want to check the rebars diameter, you click on this edit provisions. All right, in this edit provisions, you can now be able to select the rebar diameter, the rebar that you want to consider. We are considering columns right there. Okay, so in the columns, these are the available diameter for the columns. All right, you can see the diameter level as this. So we may not necessarily want 12. We will reduce 12 and then leave 16. Okay, up to 25. All right, for the columns. All right, we will not have beams. Okay, so for the slabs right there, you can see the slab. You reduce. We have to remove this for the slab. We will having 12 for the slab, and as well we will having a 16 for the slab. Okay, just like that. Okay, for the foundations, and then which is the 14th, you come over here, we have 12, and then we will also have sorry, that is 8. We will have 12. Okay, which is this one, 12 and 16. All right, remove every other ones. Okay, this is for the links. All right, this one is for the links. So for the links, we will consider 8 and 10 for the links. All right, so these are the necessary settings, and then the unit method is metrics. Click on the OK options, and then you just have to click on OK as well. So after which you can also set for every other ones, but for the sake of this lesson, we are considering only reinforced concrete columns and as well as slabs. Okay, so we use this for this slab as well. We also come to links. Under links, we will considering this as well. Click on the OK. All right, for the foundations, we also check this out, and then we use that OK options and OK. Okay, so at this point now we want to start the modeling. Okay, so we navigate at first to the story 0 to have this. Okay, at story 1 rather. So we'll go to the modeling tab, click on the columns. All right, so in the column dialog, all right, so in the column dialog, we will be considering this reinforced concrete column. So the column sections will be considering is 600, and then we will get it to be by 450, just like this. Okay, so after which we are going to be having our columns, or placing our column, drawing a line. So I can do a line from this point all the way to this point to have my columns just like this by doing a line, or you can also click, hold and drag your hand over the area you wanted to place your columns just like this. Release your hand to have your columns just the way it is. We also have our columns here and then here. All right, so these are the necessary provisions we need our columns in this design. Click on the close options. All right, so let's look at it in 3D. So you navigate to 3D just like this, and then you have your columns set out just like this. Okay, so after which we will navigate to the story 4 right there. So at story 4, we want to be placing the steel stanchions. Okay, for the steel stanchions, we navigate to the stanchions. You can see the steel columns right there. Click it once. All right, so once it comes up just like this, all right, we are going to be inserting the steel stanchions successfully. So we come to these provisions to actually select the sections that we want to use for this design. So you can see BS still members. We click in the drop down menu and choose hero code members. All right, so we can also select other options. Okay, you can also select other options. Okay, but we scroll down to we are going to be considering uh this HE, this one, and then we use this section 300 for the sake of this lesson. Okay, we use this section for the sake of this lesson. Click on this, select options, and then we want to turn it this way, after which click on the OK options as well. Okay, we want to start to place this. Okay, so just as I said earlier, we need to send this from the present story to the story one. So over here where you have a lens story, you will have to key in 4 right there. Okay, so once you key in 4 right there, and now click here and do a shade over the intersections of the grid lines. Release your hand to have the columns placed just like this. Okay, so over here you have to do the same things. Okay, just do a shade over the provisions of the intersections of the grid lines. Release your hand to have the column placed. All right, just like this. Okay, doing for this this one you just have to place it once. Okay, so if you notice these columns actually has it has a support, a fixed support at it on it. So for that reason I want to be deleting these columns, so we insert it again. Okay, so when I click and then click on the delete options and then select yes options to get that deleted, go back to the columns, still columns again. So we have this time around. Let's click on this and make sure that we selected the right sections, which is that, and then select and rotate it this way. Okay, after which click on the OK options. We really want this column to get to the foundations level, so what we need to do here, we are going to key in 3 instead of 4 in the provisions. All right, so that if you check in these provisions, you can see the support, the first support in Protastructure is always a fixed support. All right, so we'll be creating support after some times, and then we actually learn how to do that successfully. Okay, so now we now have our column resting on the reinforced concrete column, our steel column resting on the reinforced concrete column successfully. You can see now there is no other support except the one at the foundations of the reinforced concrete members. All right, so for this side you also placed it just like this. All right, so these other ones just place it. All right, just this is it. Okay, for at this point now we want to be creating other we want to be creating a pin support. Okay, so for you to create a pin support, you have to navigate to the modeling tab. Okay, under the modeling tab where you have support, this one, click on that. All right, so once you click on that, you see support type definitions, so you just add and then you give it a name as a pin support. Okay, just like this, pin support, click on it. Okay, then select this, and this is this being assigned to this pin support. Okay, so if you select this now, it goes to the fixed support. Select this one, it goes to the pin support. Okay, so we have added an additional one support to this system. Okay, so click on the OK options and I will show you how we apply that to this structure successfully. Click on the OK options. All right, so now we want to be inserting the beams, so we go to the plan view of the story 4. So navigate to plan view of the story 4. At this plan view now, we want to be placing beam in this line, in this line, and in this line. Okay, so it is a reinforced concrete beam. Click sorry, it is steel structure, steel beams. All right, so in the steel beam dialog like this, you can always check your you can always check your sections. Select the right sections you want to use. So I'm okay with these sections. I click on the OK options. All right, just as I explained earlier, you can just click over here, hold the left mouse button, okay, and then release your hand over it to have your steel members being inserted. This is a question. If you want to split it, I click on the yes options, and then everything will be splitted. All right, just like this, you can see. So you can also click at the first one and drag it over to the last one. Click on the yes options to split the beams so that it will not be a single beam. Okay, so you do the same thing here, just like this. Sorry, that point and this point, yes options. Okay, so we have these beams just like this. Okay, we can also proceed to place these beams at this point, yes options, and then you also place it at this point, yes options. All right, and then you escape, close this. Sorry, and we are supposed to the end conditions and the release of the beam. We are supposed to actually activate it over here, okay, but we have not done that. All right, so what we are going to do, we can also do that in the in the uh, in the 3D view, or we can do it later. So what we need to do, because we need to add an end release, okay, click on the close options, select everything here, excuse me, navigate to the 3D. So on the 3D you have all of this just like this, okay. So you can just remove this first. We will get back to this later. We'll get back to this later. Select one and then delete this just like this, okay. Click on the delete options there, yes, options. Okay, so for this ones now we want to add the end conditions to it. So for us to do that, you just have to use the filter options, this one, okay. So click on this filter options right there, and then filter, deselect all, filter only beams, and then select all of this, and you notice it is only the beams that is being selected. So you right click right there, after which you just have to click on the beam property, okay. So in this beam property dialog, what you just need to do, you can just navigate to the you check the inch, this one, select it right there, you can see all is known. All right, and then you come to these provisions, click right in this place, and then you are going to choose this one, right and left, okay, and okay options. So you have something of this kind. All right, so after having done that, choose all, make sure all is selected in the selections filters, and then close this dialog. All right, so after having done this, we want to be moving these beams from while we move the beams from first floor to the third floor, and as well to the second floor, okay. So we still do the same thing, filter this, okay, to only beams. So deselect all, select only beams. All right, at this time you can be able to select only the beams just like this, after which you just have to you know, navigate to the story building set out, come to the stories operations, and then click on the generate stories, this one. All right, so we are taking the stories from 4 to 2, or the shift key, so you can select 3 and 2 just like this. Click on the okay options and yes options. So you have all of this being, you know, duplicated to these provisions. All right, okay, so having done this, now the next thing we want to be doing is the trusses. But there are things, we do have an arc here, so we are not supposed to have this stanchions here, okay, because we have an arc here. So I will get this selected, select this, okay, and then I will be able to get that deleted, okay, options. All right, select this, select this, select this, you have to delete that, and as well these stanchions and these beams will be removed from here, okay. So select these stanchions, later we will insert them successfully. So over here, since we have the beam selected in the selections filters, we can just position this like this, get the all beams in this provision selected, and then we delete that off, okay. After which we can deselect that and get all selected, okay. Close this dialog, and then you can be able to select all of this beam, sorry, all of those columns, and delete it. We will insert column here later, okay. So let's look at the steel trusses. We want to be placing the steel trusses successfully. So for the steel trusses, we have to navigate to the steel model, and then you come to truss right there. So we need to pick 2 points, and before then we are supposed to navigate to the top story, which is the story 4. So we will double click on story 4 to move the grid lines to that story. Then click on the trusses again, pick this point as the first point, take it to this point as the second point, and then the trusses dialog will come up. So in this truss dialog, you have to choose the type of truss we want to use. So we want to be considering this type of truss, this one. All right, so for this now, we will come to the geometric of the trusses, okay. Okay, for the truss support placement, we will be considering it to be top. All right, So after which we will navigate to the apex height. This apex height we will have it to be 1500. Okay, so we have to also scroll down to the spans. Okay, the span is 3, we make it 5 in that provisions, and then this other provisions also 5. All right, so we have something of this kind. Okay, then for the uh right here height, we will change that to 700, just like this. Also the left here height, we also change it to 700, just like this. All right, so having changed all of that, okay, we can also change the trusses members. All right, the top chord, the bottom chord, as well as the diagonal. Okay, so if I want to do that, the contour member right there. So these are the members. You can make changes successfully, but for the sake of this lesson, we will not go into that. We work with the default members successfully. So click on the OK options to have your trusses inserted just like this. So we continue to place the trusses in these provisions. This point, and as well this point. All right, so having placed the trusses successfully, the next thing, if you check very well, you will notice that this particular trusses has actually clashing with the stanchions right there. So for us to now adjust the stanchions to be directly under the truss, we will have to do that effectively. But this trusses is not actually carrying the truss. This stanchion is not actually carrying the truss, as you can see. So we may not necessarily use these sections for this truss. We want to change from these sections. So for us to do that, get the truss selected, right click, and then you can click on each property, and then in the property dialog, go to the truss sections right there, and then we will be considering IPs. This one we are considering IPs 180. This for that particular stanchions. Okay, IPs 180 for that stanchions. Click on this select options, and then click on the OK options, and then you have to update it just like this. So this is what we have in these provisions. So close this dialog. Having the stanchions selected like this, we have to navigate to the, we will navigate, or the select as select this again. Once you get that selected, if you check up here, you can see extend columns to member. So click on that, and then click on this member. You see it's been extended successfully. It's right under the truss bottom chord now. All right, so the same thing will be applicable to this other column. So what we need to do, we just have to get this deleted. Okay, after which we select this, right click, and then click on each property. So once you click on each property, you can just come all the way to this height, and then just place it. The same property of the column, okay, will be inserted. So make sure you are able to get the point of intersections of the grid lines to be able to place this column successfully like this. Okay, close this successfully. Okay, after we must have done that successfully, we want to be placing a column on this other reinforced concrete foundation columns. Okay, we want to be placing the stanchions, and we will be using these stanchions sections. Okay, so we are to place it from the we have to be at the story 1. Okay, we have to be at the story 1 to place it successfully. So we navigate to story 2. Okay, here we are going to be to place these other columns successfully. All right, so at this story now, you just have to navigate to the steel stanchion or steel columns right there. Choose our sections. Okay, IPE 180, the same sections. Click on the OK options. We are going to rotate it this way. Click on the OK options. So we will be having the columns right here, but by then we are going to do a little settings over here. We are not going to have 3 again, rather we are going to have only 1, because this is connecting only story 2 and story 1. All right, so we have 1 right there. Make that changes first. Okay, then you come over to the provisions where we are having minus 700. We take it to be only 300 above the story. So this is it, after which just have to place this just like this, okay. And then the last one. So you will be having something of this kind. So this is what we actually expected. All right, so after we close that, then we will be looking at the Purlins. This time around we'll be looking at the Purlins. So for us to place the Purlins successfully, you have to navigate to the Purlins. See Purlins here, click on it once, pick the first truss, come over here, pick the last truss, give it some seconds to bring up the Purlins dialog, just like this. So you have a Purlins dialog just like this. So in this dialog, what you just need to change is either the spacing of the Purlin. So for the generation method, you can see by truss joint. So you can also change it to by space. And then for the filter from top, okay, you can click here to adjust it. All right, just like this. Okay, so this is fine. For the profile, you can also change the profile of the Purlins. Okay, but we go by this. Okay, these are the necessary setting. If you are not okay with the spacing of the Purlins, you can also change it right here. Okay, this is 1 meter spacing of the Purlins successfully. So click on the OK options to get that inserted successfully, just like this. All right, so for the clouding, you can also add a clouding to this. So click on the clouding and select this member, which is the Purlins member, to generate your clouding like this. I will show you how to apply load to this. Okay, so we have this successfully. All right, then for this beam, we want to be changing these beam sections because the sections of the steel beams are too large, so we want to change it to smaller sections. So what do we do? How do we do that effectively? We have to come to filter again and then deselect all of this, click on the beams only. All right, so you now get to select all of this structure, and then you will notice that even as you are selecting these structures, it is only beams that can be selected. All right, so you have to first of all deselect the clouding right there. Make sure this is deselected before you can be able to select any other members. So you select all of this, so you can see it right there. It's only beams that is selected because it's been filtered over here. All right, so after which come to edit these edit sections right there. So you have these sections just like this. So we will navigate to the IPs. Okay, the IP sections, mind you, is error code section we are using. Okay, so the IP section is this. You choose that one, and then we will navigate to these sections we're using, and then click on the selections and then OK options. All right, so you see all the sections has been changed successfully. You can see just like this. This is good now. All right, so we can also proceed to checking if they are being these sections has been released. Okay, so we have to select all of that again. Sorry, select all the structure. It is only beam that will be selected because it's been filtered over here. So you can also right click and click on its properties of the beam. So if you check over here, you can see inch, both end has been inched successfully. This is how it's supposed to be. All right, we close this. Okay, so now you have to make sure all of this is selected back like this before you close this dialog successfully. So we'll be stopping here for now. We'll be continue in the next lesson. So stay tuned, stay connected, like the lesson and subscribe. Bye for now.